Hey guys, Dean here. Someone just created a few weeks ago a version of ChatGPT which is completely automated called AutoGPT. This allows you to basically automate your whole workflow on your computer and do some really cool autonomous tasks like generate outputs of files of research, use voice controlled AI and a bunch of other really cool stuff and just completely automate ChatGPT. This is AutoGPT and it's an AI agent which is given a goal in natural language and it'll attempt to achieve it by breaking into subtasks and then use the internet and other tools in an automatic loop to do this. It uses GPT-4 or 3.5 and it's among the very first examples of an application using GPT-4 to perform autonomous tasks. And if you want to be part of this and make use of the full power of it for yourself, this is going to be the video for you. So let's jump into how to set this up. So the first step what we want to go ahead and do to actually set up AutoGPT is we want to go to visualstudiocode.com. That's code.visualstudio.com and press download for Windows on the stable build, and this is going to download our installer. VS Code is basically what's called an IDE. It's a code environment where we can actually use it to access the different file architecture of a GitHub project or an open source project which we download. It's kind of like Visual Studio but a more bare bones version of it. So double click this file or open it up in your downloads folder on Windows. Let's go ahead and just install it. Remember not to run it as an administrator because it's not meant to be, and just go through the steps, press next and then install. Next, what you want to go ahead and do is go to Python and download Python 3.11.3. Scroll down until you find the installer, Windows Installer 64-bit, and download this. Press save, and then in our downloads folder, we're just going to double click the Python file we just downloaded. You want to press install. Now, I've already installed this version. This step is very crucial and paramount, guys, because Python 3.11.3 is what actually gets this to work, or at least with the method that I'm doing to show you in this video. If you have a newer version of Python like I did, which was 3.8 or 3.9, you'll run into a whole lot of run errors when we actually try to run AutoGPT. I actually recorded this video one time initially yesterday, but I ran into so many errors because of that, I decided to completely re-record this guide and tutorial for you guys. But this is what fixed it for me. So download Python 3.11.3 before we even launch VS Code, and you might need to restart your computer, but I didn't. So now that we've done that, the next step is to go to your OpenAI account, and we want to actually get an API key. Now, I've already created one, but I'm going to show you how to do this. So press create new secret key, and I'm going to call this AutoGPT, and press create secret key just for the purpose of this. And now we're going to leave this box open because we're going to need to copy this. First, what we're going to go ahead and do is on the GitHub link, which I will have linked down below, this is the project link for AutoGPT. We can just click on the URL here, right click and press cut. And now what we're going to go ahead and do after we've done this is we're going to go into VS Code. So launch Visual Studio Code from Windows, which we're going to need to do for the next step. And within Visual Studio Code, the first thing we want to go ahead and do is we want to click on clone Git repository and click on this, and it will usually ask you for your GitHub login. I've already logged into my account. If it does, you need to create a GitHub account if you haven't already got one and log in this login box. And then next, we can clone that repository I showed you from GitHub by pasting our link in there. Control and V to paste, and then press clone from URL, and then we want to select a folder. So I'm just going to put it in downloads, create a new folder called AutoGPT, double click it, and then press select as repository destination. So now in the bottom right corner, you'll see it's downloading, and just press open to open our now downloaded repository, and tick this and press yes, I trust the authors. So now we've downloaded this. The first thing what we're going to go ahead and do is where it says env.template on the right. To access this explorer, you need to click the button on the left hand side here. This icon of two little papers, that's the explorer, so that will let you access all your files. Next, we need to go to terminal, press new terminal. That allows us to access the panel where we can actually type in commands. So this is going to be useful for the next step. Click on env template, right click on it and press reveal in file explorer. We want to then right click env.template, copy, right click on the file explorer and press paste. And now we're going to right click on this new copied file, rename, and we're going to actually remove all of the end of it and press yes to change it, and now it's going to be .env. Back in VS Code, you'll now see the file that we renamed after duplicating it, .env. It has a little gear icon, which means it's recognized it as our config file. So just click on this. Now, what we're going to go ahead and do, typically on line number 8, and we can find it where it says open API key equals your open API key. So now we're going to paste our key in here. For this, we're going to go back to that API keys window in our internet browser, and we're just going to press copy on that new secret key we created. Now back in VS Code, after the equals, after open API key, we can now highlight this, right click, press paste. It doesn't need to be in quotations because they didn't put it in like that before. So we're just going to press file and save, and we're just going to leave it like that. Now, the reason we open the terminal is because in the terminal, we can type in our commands. For this case, we're going to type in ./run.bat and press enter. And this is going to run this file, which is run.bat, and this will run all of our commands. So first of all, it's going to install our missing packages. So this will be things like Python packages, prerequisites, any kind of libraries that AutoGPT requires to actually run. And it's going to clone all of these from different GitHub projects, download it from different sources, and install all the build requirements necessary for us to actually run this software. Now that we've installed the correct version of Python at the start of this video, that means that we're prepared to actually use the software because Python's required to run all these commands. As you can see, it's actually locating our Python. So it says requirement already satisfied, and it's located our Python 3.11 in this folder. So you can see that in the command output. And if we scroll down, it says welcome to AutoGPT. Below, you'll find the latest news and updates regarding the features. So first of all, when you run it, that's great news because now we've got AutoGPT to actually run. And then we have the website and documentation, contributors information, updates for each different release and patch notes, information about certain commands being removed. You should probably read this every time you launch it, right? Useful information that they'll probably update daily or every time you actually update the version. So if we scroll all the way down, it says bulletin was updated. Press enter to continue. So we'll press enter, and then it says welcome to AutoGPT, run help for more information, create an AI assistant, manual to enter manual mode. Now, one thing I want to note, which I didn't mention initially before we continue onto the AutoGPT usage guide, I want to just mention that after you've got your API key, you do need to actually add a billing option, which you can do on the left hand side on OpenAI's website under billing. And this is a separate billing method to ChatGPT because I pay for GPT-4 and ChatGPT Premium, but you need to add a separate billing option to your account on OpenAI's site. As you can see, it says cancel paid account because I've already added a billing option. And on the left hand side, you can go under usage limits and you can set a hard and a soft cap for your usage limit. So a hard limit and a soft limit. So as you can see, I've ran like 5 commands on AutoGPT yesterday to try it out, and it's only charged me 6 cents. So it's really cheap. It barely even charges you. You could use this for a long time. But hard limit is when it reaches that threshold, any other requests will be just rejected. So you can't use your account or AutoGPT at that point if it's charged you $15. Soft limit is an amount that you pay. So when you've paid $10 and you've done a ton of commands and it's charged you $10, it's going to send you a notification that you've nearly spent your limit. But the hard limit is just basically like the hard stop, so you can't spend any more than that, and then you can just track your current usage. So I've put them very low. I actually set them as $15 and $10. You can set them even lower, but that's just so you can mess around with it, and then just press save, and then you can return to AutoGPT to then type in our commands. Now, before we type in some commands, there's also some pretty useful things in this env config that we've created. If we press Ctrl and F to search, and then we type in image provider, and then press X, this is where the image generation information is. So from here, we can do a lot of things. So by default, the image provider is DALL-E, but you can set it to a different one, for an example. So since there's Hugging Face information down here as well, you can actually change the image provider up here and change that and type in Hugging Face, and that changes your image provider to Hugging Face, which is just like DALL-E. It's another AI image generator, but you do need to set up your API token here, and you can also do the same with Stable Diffusion. But for Stable Diffusion, you change it from DALL-E and you change it to SD Web UI. So that's Stable Diffusion Web UI. But we're going to leave this for now on DALL-E, which is the OpenAI model. So now we can go ahead and type in some commands. So I'm just going to type in, I want AutoGPT to be a personal trainer, and press enter. And now this will assign the role of the AI to actually be a personal trainer. So it's kind of assuming the identity of your input here. So then it says PT GPT has been created. So it's actually created an AI model called PT, Personal Trainer GPT, with the role of an AI personal trainer that provides customized workout plans, nutrition advice, and motivation to help individuals achieve their fitness. Then it shows their goals. So the goals of this AI model is to create personalized workout plans based on the individual's fitness level, goals, and preferences, provide nutritional advice and meal plans to support these goals and overall health, monitor your progress and adjust workout plans and advice as needed to ensure continued progress. It also offers motivation and support for accountability, and continuously will learn and adapt to new trends and research for more up-to-date and effective advice. So that's pretty incredible as it is, and it's using the browser Chrome. It shows you some little other snippets of information here as well, what the AI believes it should do, so list files in the current directory. Now it says enter Y to authorize command, so you would just type in Y for an example and reply. and you would enter Y without the quotations. Then it says, now that I have an idea of what resources I have available, I should create a new file to store my workout plan code. Creating a new file will allow me to store my plan in a separate location and keep it organized. So we're just going to go ahead and just press Y in again. And it says, command write to file returned, file written to successfully. And then it's going to think again. Writing the code to generate personalized workout plans is the next logical step. So its plan now is to write code to generate personalized workout plans. So I'm just going to press yes. It's kind of giving me its thoughts on our inputs, and then we press yes or no, depending on what we want as our choice, and then it will continue and proceed to do that. So it's a very interesting model, right? Now it says, before writing this code, I should define the inputs that the code will require. So I'm just going to go ahead and just press yes. I'm going to cycle through and just continuously progress through this input stage. Now, instead of pressing Y or typing in no, which it tells us is Y-N, instead of saying yes or no to commands, we can just reply with actual conversational questions or feedback, right? But this is interesting because you can agree or disagree with what it autonomously actually wants to do itself. So now it's going to start writing the code to prompt the user for inputs required to generate personalized workout plans. So you're just going to press yes. So it's basically creating as a full bespoke system for creating personalized workout plans, which I think is absolutely incredible. So we could use this ourselves in our own self-run business, or we could actually just input them into AutoGPT. So let's say you're a fitness trainer and you had clients, you could use this as your own software infrastructure to actually micromanage all those clients, provide them tailored information based on their stats. So it's pretty incredible what we've created just as this example in this tutorial. But you can do this literally for any application, right? So from here, obviously you could type in Y to agree with it, Y-N to disagree with its next step, which is define variables to store users' inputs, or we can type in a real thing. So I want you to now generate my BMI, body mass index, based on my stats, which are, and then type in your stats. So you can actually ask it real questions, or you can continuously proceed on to the next steps after giving it an input, and then it thinks for a while, and then reason with it and tell it what you want it to do next. So it's a really intelligent model. It's really smart. It uses a few different things, and we can also use like image generation. We can also set up an AI voice, which I might do in a different video, that requires you to have an 11 Labs account and API key, but it's pretty incredible. What's interesting is sometimes it might actually open up Google Chrome as a browser on your computer to actually data gather from. So if that pops up, don't worry, it's not a virus, it's actually AutoGPT doing its thing. And as well as that, it will save files into your workspace. What we can also do is find information regarding its output. So we can go inside the folder we downloaded, which is this AutoGPT folder, which I downloaded here in downloads, which is where we downloaded it from Visual Studio Code at the start. And under our logs folder in here, we can have a look at the error log, activity log, and also we can have a look at debug log. Here under debug log, this is PTGPT, so this is our current model. And then we can go inside and we can actually have a look at all information like the full message history, the user inputs, next actions, and just have a look at literally every input that we've actually sent it and its own responses. That's really interesting. Alternatively, if you go in the second AutoGPT folder, there's also a new folder called AutoGPT Workspace. Inside here, this is actually its outputted information, right? So this is its memory bank, the file logger, and also this is our workout plan, which is actually created. So if I right click on this, press edit with Notepad++, just for an example, you can see this is the file it asked me that it wanted to create, and it's already started to actually develop and write code for it, but we haven't progressed on to the next step. So obviously I could just press like Y and just continue on to the next stage, and it's going to think. And now my Notepad file says this file is being modified by another program. Do you want to reload it? Let's press yes, and it's changed some of the code in here. So it is physically writing to files and actually doing stuff. So that's how to view the outputs of files and where to find them, and also how to view the logs. So this has been a full guide on how to set up and use AutoGPT. There's a few things that we missed in this video. For an example, setting up the image generation and also the AI text-to-speech. I will probably cover those topics in a different video. Make sure to like the video and subscribe, and leave any questions you have below about AutoGPT, and I'll try my best to get back to you and help you out. We've got a ton of different videos on AI and business on this channel, so make sure to watch this space, and I'll see you real soon.